Okay, hold on. So we just have to clarify. How many of you out there think if I just rattled off those five names, could remember all five of them? She doesn't have this in front of her. How did you do that?
You're listening to the AV-IT Amplifier. Each week, we'll feature voices and ideas that need to be amplified in the higher education and pro-AV IT communities. This show is brought to you by higheredav.com. And now here's your host, Ryan Gray.
Well, hello, everybody, and thank you for clicking the button next to your favorite Wednesday show. Every week, without fail, we are here, and today is no exception. We are back for week 2 with your friend and mine, Iffat, from the UK. So, would you please remind everybody who you are and what you do?
Yep, I'm Iffat Chaudry. I am. What do I do?
I know.
Pre-sales. Pre-sales in AV. I think that's the easiest way to describe it because nobody really understands what I do when I say it.
And I would say if you missed last week's episode, go listen to that. You'll hear a lot more about what you do and what you think about. So that's awesome. Well, thank you for sticking around for another week. We're very excited to ask you a couple of questions in here. But first, to start off, when we were chatting before we started recording, we were kind of asking each other about families and how it's going. And I mentioned, my daughter is in college, and you replied with a so much cooler way of saying something similar as you all have in the UK, a way better way of saying everything. So how would you say, my child is in college?
I'm now trying to think what I said. That was so cool. My son is at uni.
Yes,
I say that.
That's so much better, isn't it?
Yeah,
uni.
He's at university. He's in his final year of studying psychology and loving it. He's a bit of an academic, bit of a geek.
That's awesome. I am on record that those in the UK say things so much cooler and in so much more of an engaging way than we do in the States. Our words have these long vowels. We are going to college. And you guys are like, well, what about uni? Like, yeah, that's better. Uni. I like that.
Yeah,
so
maybe.
Please feel to...
I quite like the sound of college.
Well, what are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? Maybe everybody likes the other way, but, British people always have such a more clipped and expressive words for things. So please feel free to correct any of the way I'm using the English language incorrectly.
Oh, absolutely.
I leave myself in your hands on that. So, I have a couple of questions, but I want to start off with kind of one that goes back a little bit. So, what was your first job?
First job ever, or first? My first job ever was working in a shop in retail. So, as a
what did the
kid.
shop sell?
Clothes. It was dull. Yeah, it was dull. But it was fine. But my first, I had a lot of jobs. Now I don't know where to start. But my first job that was a serious job it got me through university. Actually, I worked every summer at one of the London airports, checking people's passports on departures. So it was a government job. But for the summer season, they would take their full-time staff and move them to arrivals because it was so much busier.
Right.
And there isn't a passport check anymore when you leave the country, but there used to be a passport control for departures. So I did that for 7 summers.
Holy cow. Okay, so
absolutely loved it.
Yeah, that sounds like a very extroverted day. Standing and looking hundreds of people in the eye, looking at their doing that sort of. Why did you love it?
I was part of a really great team, really, really good team. In fact, there are friends from those days, and I'm now showing my age. This was over 30 years ago. So, and we're still friends today, really good friends. So that's one thing. Friendships are important. And no 2 days were the same. So, you know, you're at such a young age, in a position of authority. I saw a lot of famous people had some great conversation. I mean, some conversations with some brilliant people like Michael Stipe and Stevie Wonder and the late great beautiful Mr. Hutchins from In Excess. So it was, you know, and when you're young, I mean, that's just a different level of fangirl kind of experience, because you've got to be sensible, and you know, you're in a professional role, but it's just, you know,
but
you never know. You never know who's coming through the gate.
Yeah, exactly. There's a leveling effect of passport control, right? Everyone's got to go, no matter who you are. And so, yeah, you're a university student, and then for the summer you step out almost into this alternate reality where famous people are coming to you for approval.
I know. It's exciting.
But
it's also, I mean, you're also watching hundreds and hundreds of people going off on their holidays.
Yeah.
And you're stuck at work. So there is that side of it as well. But I really, I mean, I loved the airport environment, and actually thought that would be my career. I thought I would do something at the airport. Yeah, that wasn't the way my career went, but
well, everyone in AV,
it funded my student life.
There you go. I think everyone in AV can say that, which is, this isn't how I thought my life was going to go, but somehow I tripped and fell and accidentally ended up in AV one day.
100%. Yeah.
So the other thing I love is when, you know, you talk about my first serious job, or, you know, and I loved it. And I say, oh, why did you love it? And your first answer is the people who were there. You know what I'm saying? Then we move on to what was I doing and what was the experience, but it's the people, and some of them you still have as friends. So do you think, like, so to put that into a question, you think you'd rather have, you know, a job where you love the content of the work but can't stand the people around you, versus a job where you're not enthusiastic about the content but the people are interesting and wonderful?
Oh, people every day.
Yeah.
Absolutely, people every day. I always say work is work, right? Work is not real life. It's what funds your life. If I didn't have to work, this is a question. Here's a question. I know you're asking the questions, but if you didn't have to work, you know, this is a question that often comes up with friends. If you didn't have to work, what would you be doing?
Yeah.
And ultimately, it doesn't make any difference. You know, I don't think there's any. There's a lot of honor and in working, right? You're working for a living. It's an honorable existence and all of that. But I think, if you are miserable with the people that you're working with, you need to get out and go and spend time with people that you can get along with. Yeah. Life is way too short.
Yeah. And it's a very, I would agree. Like I could go dig ditches for a living if the people that you're doing it with become the, you know, that's where the rewarding part of it. That's why it's a good way to spend your time. And
and I think, you know, this whole thing of knowing that you're on the right bus and going in the right direction with the right people on your side and on your team, that just makes the day go quicker.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so that leads me into another area I like to ask people about, which is that sentiment of, you know, the interaction with other people, you know, driving experience. It sounds a lot like a person who's a little more extroverted or gets energy from being with other people. But would you consider yourself an extrovert or an introvert?
Yeah, no one believes me when I say I'm incredibly shy. I absolutely hate, have always hated having attention. But I think as I've got, yeah, I don't know, with age, you might have to use the bleeper now. But
Okay, I'm ready.
I have zero Fs to give
Yeah.
now. And I think now it's the subjects that I talk about, and if I have to go and stand in front of a group of people and have, and hold the mic and speak, I do still get nervous, and I still have and I think some of that is really healthy and really positive, because it shows that you care about what you're going to say, and hope you're going to have the right impact on anybody who might be listening. But I think now, I think when you're younger, you're a bit more aware, you're a bit more self-aware of being liked, and that's more important.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm really not, I'm just not interested in that side of anything. The topics and the subject matter of what I might speak about, that's what's important. And so, yeah, I absolutely wouldn't say I was an extrovert, but I'm not as scared as I used to be, I suppose.
Of doing that. So, do you find that those sort of extroverted activities kind of are more of a drain of energy than a provider of energy for you?
It does work both ways. You do get a lot of energy from people, so it's not always the case, but it is hard when you're giving so much. It does get to a point where you are, you are expending a lot of energy, but it fills your heart up when you're having a conversation with somebody and they've confided in you, or they've felt some connection, or they felt that their burden has eased. They feel lighter. That gives me energy.
Yeah.
As it would anybody, right? It's a two-way street.
Yeah. So it's that a little bit of that ambivert, which is like that right type of connection really, really energizes, and that's it. And going back to the other thing, I'm sure a genuine connection for you is part of that, not just sitting and talking isn't the same as making a true genuine connection with somebody.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. This is one of my standard questions, and now I'm realizing how much of it's got a little bit of a U.S. A bias to it, so I'll apologize in advance.
Okay.
But okay. Pick your favorite: Aretha Franklin, Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Adele, or Beyonce.
Oh wow. Pick one.
Well, no, there's no rule. You can pick 2, 3.
I would put. There's 5 on that list, right? If I've counted correctly.
Yes.
I'd probably put Aretha at the top,
Okay.
and followed by Whitney, followed by Beyonce, followed by Adele, followed by Mariah Carey.
Okay, hold on. So we just have to clarify. How many of you out there think if I just rattled off those 5 names, could remember all 5 of them? She doesn't have this in front of her. How did you do that? How did you do that? Most people hear the one that they connect with and they answer with that and they go, and you were like, no, I'm going to put all 5. I need to take the time to put them in order.
Yeah, because
That was awesome.
they're all worthy of being considered.
Okay. All right.
They're
So now
awesome.
we've got something to unpack here, because I'm a little blown away by that, because if you gave me 5 names like that and said repeat them back to me, I could never remember all of them. My brain does not work that way. Okay. So first, are you afraid now that you are going to be kicked out of the country because you put Adele so far down that list?
No, I don't think so. I think a lot of people would. I mean, that's a tough top 5, and they are all phenomenal artists with phenomenal voices and talent. And there are others, right? There are others. And I went to a gig last week, saw one of your countrymen, actually, Moby, in concert. And the singers he had alongside on stage, and he very humbly said, this is a crazy gig. And I mean, he probably says this at all of his gigs. He said, this is it's a crazy feeling to be a headliner and, be the headline act, and you've come to see me on stage, and yet I am the least talented amongst these people around me, because obviously a lot of his music comes to life by the vocalists, and he does vocals, but some of the vocalists, their voices are just they stop you in your tracks. You can't help but just absorb if you love music, and or that genre of music, I should say. So I don't think nationality comes into it. So if somebody wanted to say, well, why didn't you put, show your loyalty to the Brit?
Yeah.
I'm sure Adele would put those other fellow artists probably in front of herself as well. I mean, she is great and fantastic, but I think she's probably great because of a result of some of those as well that went before her.
Yeah, we see far because we stand on the shoulders of giants that came before us. No,
Absolutely.
Something to unpack on that. I love that like, it's amazing that I'm the headliner, but I'm the least talented person up here, and to not only acknowledge that, but but then create this way for these other incredibly talented people whose names you don't know shine. Has a very my mind thinks in metaphors, like, so one, that takes an artist with a lot of security, or as you put, not a lot of F's to give, to say, I don't have to be out front. And could we not write a leadership book based upon that very statement that Moby made 100%. On stage?
Yeah, 100%. And it's and this is somebody who does have a lot of insecurities and talks really openly about his insecurities in life in general, and the struggles that he's had over the years. For those those who've read anything about him and his struggles with substance abuse and over the years, which is not uncommon in music and live events industry, right? But he's overcome that, and to be that giving, and there were a few things. I mean, he's very well known as an animal rights activist, and so it's not unsurprising that that's where he aligns in terms of his compass. But absolutely phenomenal art, and I just don't believe music has a nationality tag. So that's what I'd say to somebody who said you didn't pick the Brit up there. I love that. So no. I throw that question. You said you were just at a gig last week. Is going and listening to live music something that you're doing on a regular basis? Try to. Yeah, I do try to. This year's been quieter than most, but I mean, there are some artists I've tried to see before they're no longer with us because they're aging. I'm fortunate enough to have been able to see some amazing acts over the years. So and of course, like everybody in AV, we go and we judge the AV.
Right.
Exactly. Whenever we're at any of these gigs.
And drive everyone around us crazy by wanting to talk about this line array, and this is how it's rigged, and do you see this thing here? And I know. We're the worst, aren't we? We are just the worst. We spoil. Okay, so but to that front, if you're if you were at a concert that transcended that the experience pushed that stuff out of your mind and brought you in, what would that be? What is it about a live event that could make you forget how it's being done and just draw you into the experience?
I mean, I'm yet to see you two or anyone else at the Sphere. So, hats off to people who have had that experience. But I've got to say, somebody who was on your list, Beyonce, I did see her tour last year, and that was a performance that just defied many things. So but it was a full production. So when you see the crew running around and making things work, and the amount of audio visual production on a show like that, it becomes more than a gig. It's not open mic night at the local club, right? It's a full blown production that's taken years to pull together and has to be perfect every night. And when you don't notice the mistakes, that's amazing.
Right.
You don't notice that there's something's glitching or the pixels aren't quite right or whatever. That's phenomenal for those teams. But I heard that she had 3, maybe even more sets that traveled the world. So because it took so long to set up, so it wasn't one set that was rotating.
Right. And that's
but great to see live events back, right? We saw people suffering, our live events colleagues suffering when we were no longer going out.
No,
it's great to support them.
I agree. I love that. For me, there's nothing like being out at something like that and seeing sort of, to your point, a show like that, like you said, that it just exudes thousands of hours of people saying our commitment to doing this at a high level in detail is coming through, not just walking out with a guitar and whatever happens. This is something that has been, this is like our thesis.
Which has its own beauty.
For sure. But it engages you in a different way. That is something like that you can't watch passively. They're saying we have put everything we've got into this thing, so you want to give that back almost. And
it's really weird. You want people to appreciate the effort that's gone into it as well, not just take it at surface level of it's really shiny and it's great.
Right.
But another gig that I saw, which was in the open air, was Rolling Stones, and they performed one of my favorite tracks of theirs, which is Paint It Black. And at the start of the track, you see like black paint pouring down, so it tips and it starts to pour down the screens, and you just think the hours of creativity that have gone into just getting that right, and for it to work in an open, it was in a park, so it's got to work in all weathers and light conditions and all of that, and the crispness of that black as it came down. I don't think people really appreciate it. People go, that was nice.
Yeah, exactly.
And they just think it's something that you could just do on, they probably used something,
They just found a YouTube with it and put it up. Yeah, exactly. One laptop and a whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's the amount of effort and the creativity and the talent that's behind all of that is, huge.
Yeah, that's all.
It's a bit like cooking, right? I say this, you will spend hours prepping. You'll start cooking the night before because you're having a dinner party. And then within an hour, everything is done and gone and it's obliterated and the food doesn't exist anymore that you spent maybe 8-9 hours slaving over. It's the same kind of concept, isn't it? It's that anything that's creative is, but you want it to be enjoyed. So
that's
it's good.
Real quick, people. So my wife we go multi-talented, but one of the things she can do is she makes this kind of cakes, like the is it cake or is it not type cake, like can make things that look so amazing. She's an artist with it. And so for like our daughter's birthday, our nieces and nephews, these elaborate, amazing things, and it's time to eat it, and she's the first one in there just cutting it apart, like, this thing she spent hours making, right? She's just like pull it
Heartbreak.
off and throw it
Yeah.
away. And it breaks my heart. I can't watch because
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
you've been working on that for weeks
Yeah.
and, planning it out, and you can just, but it's the same thing. I like, she go, no, this is why I made it. I made it so
Yeah.
that we would tear it apart. That
Can be enjoyed. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I like
Yeah.
that. That's a good
It's-
insight.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I would just assume
And that's-
if I
yeah.
work that hard on something, we're putting it in a glass case and we're keeping it forever. And it's like, I'm too insecure to do that any other way.
know.
Okay.
I know.
Let me give you then one heavy one because I need your answer to this question, which is, do you
Okay.
believe people are generally good with a proclivity for evil or generally evil with a proclivity for good?
Oh,
Why?
definitely good. Good. I absolutely believe that hate is taught. And when I look at people and I see someone who's mean or who's being mean, I do. Yeah, I'm not saying that I don't immediately think, oh my God, that person's being whatever. But I do pause to think, what happened to you to make you that
Yeah.
bitter or twisted, or, what did you go through? Whether that's in childhood or as an adult or, whatever. But I really do believe that those insecurities and fear and hatred and an ability to easily harm other human beings is learned. It comes from, whether that's an experience or whether that's being surrounded by, the nature-nurture argument, I suppose. I think if you look into a child's eyes and you look into a baby, as they're kind of getting their senses and they're connecting with you, they'll look into your eyes and they'll smile, right? They will give love to whoever is nurturing them and who's caring for them. But something happens along the way to change that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all day long, I think people have the ability to be good, more so.
Yeah. I love that concept of, it can be difficult at times when you see a behavior or something that just is flabbergasting, but to be able to jump to, okay, how did you end up in that place? Could I have ended up, could that be me if I had your lived experience? What are the chances? I think there's something significant about myself, but I could very well have been there if I had that same lived experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's actually a freeing part of moving through the world that way too, which is, you can say, it's almost to what you talked about before, like, I can try to understand what you're doing, but that does not mean I have to agree with it. And understanding from another person's point of view is not an endorsement of their. Yeah, I love that.
No.
Well, there's your takeaway, everybody. Right there is, if if she can do it, you can do it. Let's we'll put that out there. Okay, same last
It's
three
not
questions.
always easy, especially when it's if there's something quite horrific that happens,
Yeah.
and just understanding human behavior is can be. You can just look at it and not understand, because it's so far removed from your own belief system or thought process. But you have to, whatever the situation is, you do have to take a step back and think, what happened to that human to make it okay for them to behave that way. So yeah, it's hard.
That level of understanding is a key to a lot of things, right? A lot of conflict exists when we can't see. It's easier to throw judgment and not see the other person as an actual human. That makes it really easy to turn a blind eye. So thank you. All right. Same last three questions for everybody. Third to last is, what is a question that you wish people would ask of you, but nobody ever does?
That's a really hard question. If that's the third to last, I dread to think what the first is.
The other two are way easier than that. Don't worry about it.
I genuinely don't know. I think I'm quite an open book. And that seems to be more open maybe to my detriment, but as time and age has probably made that. I hope people would ask me whatever they wanted to.
That's actually a really good answer, which is ask me what you actually want to ask.
Yeah.
Skip the platitude and ask the real question.
Yeah.
I like that. I haven't gotten that answer to that question yet. So that's awesome. I love that. Because everyone's answer to that question, I feel a little bit like, yeah, I can see that for me. Yeah, I can see that. But I love that one, which is ask the real thing. You know what I'm saying? Ask the thing that is of your interest, and let's go down that road. Yeah. I like, cool. Thank you. Okay. Second to last question. If people wanted to connect with you online or learn more about you and your show, how would they do that?
Best place is LinkedIn. So Iffat Chaudry on LinkedIn. The videos are on YouTube under What If with 2 Fs.
Find them, mash that like and subscribe.
I'm sure I'll be back on Twitter, X at some point, but it's at IFC is my handle. Yeah. I'm not on there very often at the moment.
At IFC is a great handle for you on there, but yeah, Twitter is the same thing. It's it's around, but it's less of an engagement thing for me too. Okay. Yeah. And finally, the last question is, so in the U.S., old newscasters had their sign-off phrase that they would close their broadcast with, or performers have their kind of drop the mic phrase. So what is IFC's drop the mic sign-off phrase?
Oh wow, that's hard. Because I tend to switch it up. So it is a what if. It will always be a what if we could do better.
Thank you for listening to the AV IT Amplifier. Join us again for next week's episode when we'll welcome a new guest who you'll want to hear from. We promise. Your host has been Ryan Gray. He's on the tweeters at Ryan_A_Gray, or find him on LinkedIn to connect. Please subscribe and give the show a rating and review wherever you get your podcasts. This show is brought to you by higheredav.com. The views expressed here are not necessarily those of our respective institutions, employers, or sponsors. Everyone hang in there, go easy, and we'll be back next week.